Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Pennycast, where I am your host, Dana, joined by Mr. Danny Martinez, and we're talking about episode 3 of It Welcome to Derry. I forgot what the show title was called, but it sure was a good one. So, immediately, how are you doing, Danny? How's your day? How's life?
I just finished watching an anime and I'm heartbroken that it's over. I mean, it's been over for the past 2 or 3 years, I think, but I just caught up with it and finished it. So I'm kind of like heartbroken and depressed over it. But I also saw Welcome
You
to
finally did.
Derry and, huh?
Hmm?
I also saw the Welcome to Derry episode and I actually wasn't impressed, actually.
We all know Danny is special with the
Yeah.
cough and the dysentery, so he can't fully focus on greatness that is Pennywise and what
Yes.
this episode did, and Dan Hallorann, which we will discuss because you actually read, you didn't read, but you are fully aware of the it stuff.
Yeah.
So we will discuss that. Um, so for me, right off the bat, obviously I'm the opposite. I thought it was good. I think we finally got more story. We got some horror. I was still scared. There's that opening scene with the kids and going in the woods and the ghost. Yes, as you said, Ghostbusters, basically. That was terrifying. But we got to start first with the 1962 scene of what in the Slender Man creature thing, ant. I don't know what that was, but it was horrifying. What were your thoughts on the opening? Did everything completely suck to you?
The opening was good. I liked the setting and everything, and this kid who we find out later is Shaw. As a kid, uh, I didn't find it too scary, but it definitely had a creep factor to it because yeah, it was a reminder of kind of like Slender Man, or for those who like to look up cryptids and stuff online. The rake is another one of those things. If anybody knows what the rake
Hmm.
is, so yeah, the creature was kind of creepy. The CGI again, kind of like it's a bit off-putting sometimes. It's still what bothers me. I feel like with this scene specifically, it could have been uh uh with actual puppets, I guess would you say? And it would have been fine. Um, so I kind of feel like, and I know we'll touch on the cemetery scene at some point, but I kind of feel like at this point that they're relying way too much on these CGI scares, and I think that's what's kind of like slowly ruining it for me a little bit.
Are you serious? Because I got the opposite. I felt like they pulled back a lot because the first episode was so horrific and graphic in its nature. And then when we got to the second one, it was less horrific, still scary, still bloody. I don't know what it is with this show and slime, but the drooling and the things like, ugh, that scares me more than like actual demon Satan flying babies coming at you and killing children and all that stuff. So for me, I thought they pulled back a lot and just gave us weird spider creature man in the woods, and it wasn't as violent as it could. To me, it just wasn't as violent as it could have been. So I really thought for me that they were giving us, a lot of different versions of different ways to scare us without it being as horrific as it was previously.
Hmm.
So I'm wondering like if every episode is going to have that moment of like what is going on situation.
I don't
But
think
I
it
think for
should.
me,
I don't.
no,
I
no,
don't think every episode should, honestly. And that's actually a point that I wanted to touch on is that because
hmm,
the creep and scare factor for me on this episode was so low, it made me feel like I really hope they don't try to have these type of scenes every single episode, just because the theme of the show in general and the town is horror. I get that, but I think building up the tension and waiting for something horrific to happen would benefit more if you skip an episode or two.
right. Well, this one was titled "Now You See It," and I
Hmm.
think the it, obviously is focusing on Pennywise, the lore of Pennywise, and what they're trying to do with Pennywise. And I think the story was a lot stronger this
Yes,
time.
agreed.
So I really appreciate that. So we do dive into one is 1962, which you would think, oh, this is like a throwaway story, but it connects to what's going on currently. And then, of course, we get what it ends up connecting to later on with not just The Shining, but the sequel, which was Doctor Sleep, within the Stephen King universe. And it was
Hmm.
a lot of fog going on. So I was like, look, it's the mist. So we're getting everything in there. I like that aspect. But yeah, 1962, we meet this lovely girl and kind of her friend, and we end up discovering that it is now the eldest Native American of that tribe there, who ended up growing up within that land, and she knows and she's seen kind of this creature, Pennywise, essentially, because every creature in this thing's just a form of Pennywise. Um, and so did the boy. But it's really interesting to me. It seems like, and it touched upon this town or this area has a play has a way to make you forget,
Yeah.
which goes into play as to why the adults are so nonchalant, as to why we're seeing Dan in the future, the other iterations, and there's like no recollection, and he's still in that same town. So, what's going on with that as well. So I really like the fact that they touched upon it, but they had very specific to these two characters, where he remembered her, but he didn't remember like what happened and what was going on, especially that scene within the woods. So now we
Hmm.
flash back to now where he is spearheading this mission of trying to find the entity, it, um, and dig it up, as we discovered before in the last episode, to kind of use fear as a military tactic if they ever go to war, because it's the Cold War, which we both agreed was stupid as all can be. And I really think it's unoriginal. Like I feel like I've heard that before. But anyway, um, kind of diving into this, we're finally introduced to Dan. He has a full, kind of well fleshed out episode with this, where we discover that because he has the Shining, which goes back to the Shining and everything. I love how it connects, but he has the Shining power, and so they're able to use him essentially as a compass to find the it entity. And instead of like it going one way, Pennywise is like, "Oh, well, who's this boy?" And he's very intrigued.
Hmm.
So, what were your thoughts on how they utilized this character?
Yeah, I liked it. It was interesting. They still have yet to call it The Shining or anything like that. I don't know when he's gonna establish that name, because in every iteration of a book that involves like the shining powers, they call it something different. So there's not like an actual established name. He just calls it that, and then he calls it that in the Shining movie. So I'm wondering when he's going to establish that name and mention something like that to like truly connect to it, or maybe they're not going to mention it at all. I would assume because they're not. Maybe it's something has something to do with rights or something like that. So maybe they can't, even though they're
No,
connected. Even though they're connected, though, because we're talking about studios and production companies that own different movies, for different reasons. Like for example, Marvel.
Andy
Marvel can't
Machetes.
do what.
Everything was, from my understanding, everything is still passed down. No, because the It movies
Hmm.
were um, Andy Muschietti, which is owned by Warner Brothers, and
Hmm.
then from
Is
when
The
it was
Shining
The
still owned by
Shining.
Warner Brothers?
Oh my God, I don't know.
Because
That's
that's
a
the point I'm
really
trying to
great
make.
question.
Because if they don't own the rights, then that's an issue. That's a legal issue in itself. Because my example was going to be, look at Marvel. They can use the Hulk,
Mm.
but they can't make a Hulk movie because he's owned by Universal. So that's a difficult a thing they have to juggle. So I'm wondering if maybe they can't use the word shining because of some reason like that.
He's a
Um,
glowing boy.
but regardless, like the scene itself was really cool. I like the way it was done, and it gave a kind of eerie sense to the powers and the curiosity with Hanlon, the father, because he's looking at him all weird and just like, what the hell were you doing? Like that you had your eyes closed and you were telling us where to go and stuff, and so that the whole mysterious stuff is starting to connect a little bit more.
Hmm. It is starting to connect, and I did like that aspect of like how they use the powers because it seems to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, every person who has the ability has it differently than each other.
Hmm.
Because I don't think Danny, the boy from The Shining, had it the same way as he does. And
Yeah.
then there is that connective thing where the Green Mile, Michael Clark Duncan's character, had The Shining, and it wasn't the same. It was more of like healing powers.
Right.
It was not the same. So, from my understanding, everyone's powers could be different. And
Yeah.
as you said it before, just had all the characters together with The Shining and do a Care Bear stare.
To do a Avengers Assemble scene.
Avengers Assemble. Shine away. But yeah, I like the fact I like that they utilize the character this way. I thought it was really fascinating how we're able to get, you know, what's going on and with him and why he was brought down. Remember, it was like a secret. Oh, sorry, a secret mission. And now we know that essentially. I'm kind of concerned. Like, is he bait? And then is this going to be this whole show essentially setting him up to be the hero? Because you would think, oh, it's the kids, because it's kind of
Mm,
always been the kids.
mhm.
But now with him, is it really him who's the hero because of his ability? And Penny is not like, running away in fear. Penny's like really intrigued by this whole thing. He's like, oh, I see you too,
Yeah.
essentially, which is the title. The title of the episode is called "Now You See It," and we finally did get it. We got a hazy it, but we got a it. So yay! Um, So then, with that being said, we've got to also move on with the kids. What were your thoughts on the kids this season and how their discovery, yes, as you call it, the Ghostbusters, where they're in that cemetery? I thought it was interesting. Now that was the one where I was like, that's a little bit weird with the CGI,
Yeah.
but I thought it was really smart. I was scared a
um,
little bit, and none of the kids died. No
I
kids
don't
died.
know. I didn't enjoy that
No,
scene because of the ghosts. The ghosts they legit look like the ghost from the all female Ghostbuster version. That's what they reminded me
I was
of.
gonna say Ghosts from Ghost. They didn't look like Ghosts from Ghost for
No,
you. The Michael Jackson Ghost when it was like,
no, they look like those neon glowing ghosts from the Ghostbusters movie with Kristen Wiig and such. Like
oh,
I
that was a
really didn't,
terrible
I
movie.
really didn't like the appearance of the ghost. It didn't make it scary. I thought it made it more action, like almost like an action movie type of scene. I wasn't feeling it whatsoever. I mean,
Really?
I was still um excited through the scene because I was wondering if they were going to kill off another child at some point, and I was actually worried about Will for a bit because he fell into the hole. Um,
Hmm.
and I was like, "Oh my God, they got Will. What is his father going to think about it? What's going to happen with that?" But we already know that he survives that. So everybody
Hmm.
pretty much gets away unscathed. But the whole ghost thing was silly. The whole like taking a picture of the ghost was silly, um because like you could have, like, what, like like you take a picture of a ghost and you're gonna get a perfect photo of a ghost. Like, no, like it just doesn't make sense to me. um I will say the scene where we get to see Pennywise's hand for the first time, like you see his arm in the full clown costume. That was a nice little foreshadowing there of what we're gonna get to see in the future. Because even when we get the scene of Hallorann finding the floating the children floating, the victims floating in Pennywise's den, All we still get
Hmm.
to see is just the eyes, and of course we hear his voice, but we still just get to see the eyes. We don't get to see a full clown getup. So we at least got like the arm for a tease in the picture, and little hazy picture.
No, I thought the arm was such essential because remember the
Yeah.
first, not remember the It from 2017 when remember when the baby was escaping. I forgot his name, but the boy from the very beginning. He's like
Uh-huh.
pop 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 with the balloons. He's like, okay, I gotta go now, and he starts running, and that's when its arm stretches out
Stretches
of
out.
the stretches out and
Yeah.
gets him.
Yeah.
So I thought that that was like such a great callback. Is little tiny things to me, it seems, where it's a
Mhm.
callback to the other It because it is a connection. This is a prequel to that movie.
Mhm.
So I thought that they was just doing little kind of sprinkle things, and that's why I really love that moment
Yeah. They
because
they
that is
hinted
kind of
at they hinted at his getup too, or possibly like the inspiration for his clown form, because when he did the flashback with Child Shaw, there was a clown, different wig, but it had the makeup of Pennywise and similar
hmm
getup. So I feel like this is like a little bit of how Pennywise was influenced by maybe the clown getup is something scary for kids to season them up real nice for him to eat.
I mean, it makes perfect sense. You have the clowns has always been like a mix between like horror and delight,
Hmm.
just in general. And then so you have that, and so that's how you entice the kid in. Like, oh look, balloons, and I'm just like, oh my god, are you okay?
Oh, that's fine. It's my hands.
Oh my gosh,
It's
that
cold.
was a
It's
crack
cold,
now.
so my hands are like really feeling it.
He is old, ladies and gentlemen. But, but no, that to me was like the really fascinating thing about it, and that I really loved. Was because that they did that aspect, and then also um, remember when they took the camera and they got a photo of it. To me, it looked like they got Pennywise,
Yeah.
and you saw like an orange tuft of hair where it looked like what's the one from The Simpsons? Sideshow Bob.
Sideshow
Was it
Bob
Sideshow Bob?
or
It
Krusty.
looked crusty. Yes, sorry,
Okay.
crusty. Because it went like this, and then remember the hair stuck out like it went to the
Yeah.
side, and then it was like a triangle. I was like,
Yeah.
ooh, but it was orange, and we all know that sometimes he has that bright orange hair.
Hmm.
So I really did like that aspect of it as well. But I also kind of like the fact that they brought it back to the mobster days, which was so weird. I got it wrong as well. I'm not sure if you even mentioned it. You just said a car in general, but my computer is going completely haywire. But there was the car. Remember the car that they pulled out?
Yeah.
That I personally thought that was what Maddie was in when he was running, and that little angel demon was like ah.
Yeah.
That belonged to the 1930s, 20s. When was the prohibition? 30s, and there was a whole mobster background behind that.
Hmm.
So it's interesting how we're getting. I would love to have seen like Pennywise throughout the decades, and we're getting some of that as well. And this is how we got introduced to his backstory. I'm forgetting the lady's name who owns the shop, the Native
Rose.
American, Rose. And we're getting Rose's backstory
Yep.
and how that demon thing has been around for so long and what's going on there. So, what did you think of it bringing them back to 1930s prohibition?
I like it because it gives more backstory,
Hmm.
and flashbacks are always good for character development. So we got a little bit more with Shaw and a little bit more with Rose and their relationship, and also the fact, like you mentioned before, the connection of how Shaw eventually left because his father got stationed somewhere else, and as he left, he forgot everything. So that's the effect of what happens when you leave the town. And even when you're in the town, you still tend to forget things because of the influence of Pennywise. So I like that they touched on that. Um, I also like that, or I should say, I hope that they continue this trend, which I'm sure they will, because Muschietti had said then the 3 seasons that they have planned so far will go back in time. It won't be in a future. It won't be a sequel. So we're going to go back to further in the past and then much further in the past by the 3rd season. So imagine by the 3rd season, I'm just throwing a number out there, but like let's say in the 3rd season we're in the 1800s at this point, and we're still getting flashbacks of much further back. So we'll still get more background of possibly even like when Pennywise landed on Earth in the first place or something.
We'll get the turtle.
We'll see the turtle. Yeah.
On the ship, like a big turtle flirting with the universe.
Throwing
I
up the
hate the book
universe.
so much. I'm so sorry. The book was a mess, but yes, in a way, it kind of reminded me of. Remember the Predator movie? The one where it ended. Remember the one where they were speaking that native language? I don't remember the name of the language.
Oh, Prey.
Remember at the end, Prey, and remember at like the end of Prey was like, "Yay, we defeated Predator," and then it was like, "Here comes the colonizers." So it kind of reminded me of like different moments in history. So I'm like, I'm very excited about this. This is a lot of fun. So yes, I did love the relationship. But my thing is I was really surprised. And obviously this is all for like convenience. I'm surprised that Penny let him go. Because Penny
I agree.
didn't have to.
But who knows? Maybe Pennywise is a bit threatened by people with The Shining, because he was pretty threatened by the adult versions of the kids in the movies, because they had Shining also.
That is true. So then is it for kids who don't have Shining? And then I'm still stuck on the turtle. Like, does the turtle also offer protection? Because the thing is that Maddie purposely, and I don't think they don't focus on things that they don't need to focus on. They purposely showed the turtle and him giving the turtle to the girl, Lily. I think it was Lily. So, and Lily's still alive. Maddie is dead, and she was like, "I always loved it. It's protection or whatever it is that she said." So I'm kind of wondering, what is it that Penny? Why is the reason that he doesn't attack certain kids?
Well,
and not the others?
I think the theory is that Maturin, I think is how you pronounce the turtle's name, Maturin. I think
Yeah.
the theory is that he gives the Shining to these people for protection. And if you notice, he's in every episode so far. Like, there's always some sort of turtle symbol in every episode somewhere, especially in moments where you see Pennywise is about to attack and the kid survives. So the turtle is always protecting and always observing. Like, even in literally the first few minutes of this new episode, when the carnival games are being shown, you see like you throw a ball and you knock down like ducks or something. Instead of ducks, it was turtles. So like, he's always around.
And here's another thing that I also wanted, because they went back to 1908 was a fair. This was essentially when they was talking about the development of fear within Francis, who is, I forgot, the guy. That's when he kind of first felt fear. So I'm wondering, is that like when Penny is like, oh, another ripe one that I for my picking? Like, does he wait for you to develop a fear in
Yes,
general for him to
100%.
be able to strike? So it's like X-Men, but for not good.
So here's the thing, and they haven't touched on this either. I don't even think in the movies, honestly. You don't have to be afraid for you to die by Pennywise. Pennywise just prefers that you're afraid, because like I wasn't like, it sounded like I was making a joke, but legit, the reason why he likes kids afraid is because they taste better afraid. So that's like his seasoning. There are other gods and other people that Pennywise is related to, and there's a god, for example, his seasoning for eating something is actually laughter. So every god has his own like preferences. Pennywise just happens to be fear.
So what you're saying is Pennywise is a black man because he seasons his food. Sorry, I'm recording.
That was good though. That was good.
Good
night, everybody.
night. Great show. Yes. So, that is what I absolutely love about that. So then, I'm just kind of concerned with occurrences. I love that scene when it was like the carnival. We still don't have the exact. Well, we kind of explained the clown situation behind that, and then um, now that we have them as everyone is adults, they're able to. It's interesting how they completely reconnected right away, even though it's been many decades.
Mm-hmm.
So I do love that for them, but that kind of means someone is going to die. And this is how I interpret it as. Once they start being, oh my gosh, you're alive. Remember that time by the water. It's like, oh, they're rekindling things. They're dying. They're dying. Definitely. And we haven't had a death this season. So kind of going
Yeah.
back, we kind of talked about how the military thing was just awful. And we talked about the Shining's ability. The kids right now, how do you we talked about how we kind of don't like what was going on, but in a way I thought that they were really smart. They're not making the kids dumb, and TV shows
Yes.
sometimes have the ability to make the kids dumb and annoying. They're not that at all, and as you stated, it's like a Ghostbusters for kids, which is we never got that, like in general. I don't even think in cartoons
I mean, the new
a
Ghostbusters
kids
movie was
Ghostbusters.
kind of like kids being
That is
Ghostbusters.
true.
They still had the adult
That is
Ghostbusters
true.
there, but the kids were kind of like the new generation. So yeah,
That
kind
is
of.
true. But I like this. What are your thoughts on this new gang now that we finally have them together after the old gang was rest in peace?
Um, I still like them. I think they're charming kids, charming actors.
Uh-huh.
So I think it works great. Um, I character wise, I like that they went from being afraid to now gathering up the courage as much as possible, anyways, gathering up the courage to prove themselves that what they saw was real, to stop whatever it is that's going on, or at least just find out what the hell is going on because they still don't really know. But yeah, they're gathering that courage, so I kind of like that. I like seeing that right now.
I like how Susie confronted Lily in that bathroom.
Yeah,
Um, I love how all the kids are they're focused and they have an intent, and she's willing to get her father out. My question, because for me, I don't think he is going to get out of
who is?
prison.
Oh, okay.
I don't think the father is getting out. Do you feel that he's going to get out because of her sheer determination? And where's grandma?
I don't know. I don't.
The
I
adults.
don't know. I don't know if he's gonna get out. I don't.
I don't think he's going to get out.
It can go either way because he could be a martyr and it could push more of the. Oh, I don't want to say agenda because that word is has been
No, what
dirty.
agenda
Dirty.
could there actually
No, because
be?
people use the word agenda now, and it's like a dirty word now when it comes to social media. But like
Yeah, the black agenda.
well, no, yes, actually, exactly that. It's just
Yeah.
like the okay, better word theme. The theme of racism in Derry. Um,
Mm-hmm.
for him to stay in jail can push that theme a little bit more because clearly they wanted a scapegoat and they got this black man as a scapegoat. So they're gonna try their best to keep him there because if they get proven wrong, now the white men look stupid. So
Mm-hmm.
I think uh him being put in jail and stayed in jail, at least the cops making an effort to make sure he stays in jail is a good theme.
I thought of that at first. See, I was like, when they initially did it, was like, yeah, we're going to pin it on the black guy because he's always the black guy. But I like the fact that they're not saying anything, which to me makes it even more insidious. Because
Mhm.
we know, because of this time of the 1960s, this is not alternate universe 60s. This is like America 60s. We're talking about
Mhm.
Cold War and wars just in general. So I do like the fact that they're doing that, but they're not heavy handed with
Right.
save black people. We gotta lock
Right.
them up because
Yes.
it does get
It can be
exhausting
subtle.
as
It can be subtle racism, and that
and
exists.
we've and that's when it's like we don't know what's really going on, but we know what's going on. But is it?
Mhm.
Is it really?
Right.
Like we get that weird feeling. Like remember when the wife was walking down the street and everybody was just looking and staring.
Mhm.
And then they mentioned JFK, and you would have to know about the passing of the Civil Rights Act in
Mhm.
order to be like, oh, this is why they're upset. But it doesn't innately say this,
Right.
except for that one scene when it came to the attack, which now we finally know who he was attacked by. Yay!
Yeah.
Um, but it came to that scene of him being attacked. Then not him, no, before being attacked, it was the guy who refused to call him his what was it, captain, commander, leader. You're a part of the military thing. You know the levels of it.
Not for that
Is it
branch,
commander,
no. I'm a Navy
captain?
guy. I have no idea.
Is that the hoorah?
Hoorah is Army. Huya is Navy.
Navy has one.
Navy has their
I'm
own.
so
Well,
ignorant.
every branch has their own, I should say.
Every branch has their own. Well, you guys can swim and look for things.
You'd be surprised how many people in the Navy can't swim.
Oh my God. Did it?
Mhm.
See, House of Dynamite is real. We're in trouble. Sorry. So yes, what were your thoughts? Because I don't know, and this is another thing that you can like say but not say. Remember the agreement that Rose had with not Shaw, Francis. It was like, okay, look, we understand that the Native Americans are upset because we're digging up, you know, sites that is protected and also special to the Native Americans. So we're going to have a deal where you tell us where we can dig. That's okay.
Mhm.
And she was like, okay, do you agree with that? Do you think that that agreement will last? Because history has shown us there has been many agreements. See what I
Exactly.
mean? Where it's like, it's very subtle. I don't
Mhm.
think that that's going to happen at all. And also, this is the U.S. military. We know the history of the U.S. military when it comes
Mhm.
to agreements and within the country.
With Native
So,
Americans, yeah. Yes, exactly.
Native Americans and everybody, but especially Native, bury my heart at Wounded Knee. So, we know.
Yeah, yeah. That deal's not. I don't think that deal it would even get started. Honestly, I don't think that will last like a month. Like, I think the whole point is, maybe she wants him. Sorry, maybe he wants her to tell him where not to dig, and that's exactly where he's gonna dig, because those burial sites are
Mm,
probably important to where this creature is.
mm. I never thought of that. That's a good one too. But I definitely see a lot of disrespect. But what I do love about this Rose character, and again, I don't know like the history of tribes and things, so forgive me, is the fact that she is essentially kind of the leader, and she's a female in the leader. They
Yeah.
listen to her. She's one of the elders, and it's not necessary. It's not like a male character coming in there and be like, "Hey, no, you're wrong," and they're the leader. So, what were your thoughts on her kind of being the leader and taking control? And even though she does, what was that word? Have conversations with the nephew and with other people.
Mhm.
She is essentially being entrusted with this.
I didn't think anything of it. I think it's interesting, but
Okay.
I didn't really think anything of it other than it's her role, her importance to the community will play a bigger role in the show for sure. Um, but I didn't think any of it at the moment, whereas like, this is gonna change her character in any way. I think if anything, it's just gonna show more of how powerless she is compared to the military trying to take over, and she's trying to help a
Mm-hmm.
friend, but this friend now is in the military, has a military mindset, and he's going to betray her 100%. I feel like I'm going to put money down on that. He's going to betray her 100%, and it's just going to show how Americans or American military, whatever it is that you want to use, they like to screw over people for the benefit of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it's going to work.
This is kind of why I'm concerned when it comes to the Shining Eye, because I think he's going to get screwed some kind of way. I feel that we already know he's being used as bait,
Yeah. No, I agree.
but I feel that something else is more insidious at play. And this is kind of what I'm wondering. what's going to happen to him. We know he lives,
Yeah.
obviously, but you could still get screwed over. And what is it that allows Penny to to make him forget? I'm kind of wondering if there's some kind of like alignment that they have to end up doing. Do you think between him and Penny? Because the fact that he lives, I don't understand how.
I don't know
He
if
just
there'll
can't
be an
remember.
alignment. I mean, this Pennywise is practically a godly being. I don't see why any godly being would like to make a deal with like a little mortal for any reason. I don't know. It could be wrong. You could be right, but I don't see it happening. I think it's more of a scenario of just Halloran escapes. He gets away from it all. He either goes into
Mm-hmm.
hiding or maybe he goes into prison. He gets put in prison over something, and then he's just gone, and that's it. He's done. That's his story. He ends up in prison. He gets out like 30 years later, and then he becomes a caretaker in that Shining hotel. That's it.
I'm wondering if it's the psychiatric unit.
Or
I'm
that,
wondering
yeah,
if it's the
yeah,
same place
could be.
where they put Lily.
Mm,
Because
mm,
if you start saying to me, I'm seeing dead people and there's all of a sudden everything turned to water and there's a killer clown,
yeah,
that's where I'm wondering where they end up being. And then he gets released, obviously, decades later, and they maybe could pump him up with some medications where it
yeah,
forces him to forget.
yeah.
And it isn't until he gets to the It Hotel and he then comes Danny that he's like, oh, something triggered something. And now
Yep.
we have a remembrance. And that's how he's able to like help the boy. And that's why he's so willing to help others when it comes to Dr. Sleep. So I don't know. But dinner scene. I love me a good dinner scene. What was your thoughts on that tense dinner scene?
That was tense.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that was tense.
Um,
I love that.
I honestly I even felt that Halloran was kind of flirting with his wife a little bit there. I kind of got that a little bit. But maybe I was overreading it a little bit, but that's kind of what I got. Or maybe he's doing it to mess with oh Lord, what's his name? Hanlon. Um
Yeah.
Maybe he's doing that just to mess with him, but the whole scene was tense. And then they got to the porch and they had their private talk, and Hanlon actually asked them what the hell was that on the plane. What is it that you're doing? Like, I need to know, yada yada. And then I mean, Halloran didn't really explain too much. He was still very vague on everything because it is still classified technically, so he has to keep his job.
Mm-hmm.
But I really like that he noticed how unafraid Hanlon was when he was in that attack in the cabin. So he was like,
Mm-hmm.
well, I know not to fuck with you, so I don't worry about me messing with you. So at least he's aware of that.
Mm-hmm. He was like, you. But I did like the fact that he was like, I didn't. For a moment, I got slightly confused because he was like, I don't like this. He was talking about you was in my head, and I was like, wait, is it literal? Is he able to read his thoughts? What's
Hmm.
going on? Because this is so much based in supernatural. I was like,
Yeah,
what is this another element that I didn't see before? But I
could be.
completely agree with that, and I kind of love that revelation. It was like, oh, I'm not gonna message you. Um, but that to me was very fascinating with that. And I like the fact, here's the thing. I know that he can't say much of anything because it's classified, but I'm also wondering if he's protecting himself in terms of like I would come across completely crazy. Kind of like what Lily was saying. I really can't tell you the truth, because I'm going to come across as crazy. And as we kind of see in the next episode, like then they gave the preview, she's looking hella crazy
Hmm.
when she starts explaining what actually happened. So I'm wondering if it's like a way of also protecting himself as well. Do you
Probably.
think?
I guess that no, I think that makes sense too. Nobody would believe what he's capable of, really. Same thing as the girls. They're not going to be believed what they saw in the movie theater. So yeah. And besides, maybe he's even aware that people forget. So what even the point of
Hmm.
telling people things when they might even forget?
But do you think that they came to like an agreement or like a friendship within that moment, where it was
Yeah,
like more of an admiration? Because like I kind of see it as like an allyship. So I
I don't,
think he will eventually kind of tell them.
I don't think an admiration. I think it's more of the military mindset of like, well, I have to work with you, you have to work with me. Let's make this work as best as we can. That mutual, I guess, work relationship, you could say. And especially just to keep safe because they don't know what they're looking for. This is a dangerous job. They don't know what's going on. They're kind of left in the dark. So, or the both of them actually, really, are still kind of left in the dark. So they have that mutual connection to help each other, anyways. And of course, I'm sure the relationship will probably deepen because they'll eventually find out more details as the show goes along.
These two share a psychic connection. And that's why I genuinely think when he said you're in my head, he literally means that as you're in my head. Do you, because I feel that he was literally in his head and he could read his thoughts and know what was going on. Do you do you feel that? Because they have this,
No.
they're paired for a reason, I feel. Could they be
Um,
shining each other?
Possible. I maybe I read it more as he felt him in his head, almost like if I took my hand and tried to shove it into your skull, you're gonna feel it. So I kind of felt like the idea was just that Hallorann was psychically digging into his head, and Hanlon could actually literally feel it. That's all that I got from that comment.
I got it as an Xavier X-Men thing
But
where he
Xavier's
was
just
like,
one sided, so it would probably be like Xavier and Jean Grey trying to do it together, like the whole psychic thing together.
that's what it kind of it didn't, that's what it kind of felt like to me. Like they were literally feeling each other out.
Hmm.
But yeah, so um, because he does say they talked about the brain, and he was saying that there's a part of the side of the brain that you don't fear, you're not afraid of anything. And I felt like he felt that when he was in his head,
I don't think
literally.
Hanlon felt it. Halloran felt it 100%, but because he has the Shining, I don't think Hanlon has any of that connection with him that way.
Okay, okay, right then. Are there any kind of other thoughts that you have within that non-connection connection?
um,
Because I'm going with a connection.
no, but I'm hoping for more of. I'm hoping we see more of them because I'm liking the whole aspect of them in the dark and trying to figure out what the hell's going on, type of thing. The kid stuff is a nice little side story, but my enjoyment so far is both of these guys.
I am still wondering if that they end up becoming friends and something happens that causes him to be so cold blooded when we get to the It movie. Because remember, that is the guy who played the grandfather
Yes.
who shot the sheep in the head.
Yeah.
Something happened within that. And if we're going to go with each episode where we're going backwards, I feel that this is the season that will explain that. And I feel that this friendship, something breaks within him and he is deeply betrayed because he's coming across as three-dimensional and caring and kind, and something happens to shut him down and become completely cold.
Hmm.
Where it's like, that's life, son. Either you live it or it'll eat you up. So I think that there's going to be a betrayal between those two. And then, of course, with the Shaw is
Shaw.
the white guy, the
Yeah.
main guy who's using
Colonel,
everybody with
Captain,
that
whatever he is.
stupid thing. So stupid. But that's what I kind of feel like is going to happen. This
Mm.
is an exploration into his character. Because why would they bring him back? It makes no sense
Hmm.
to even have that connection. So, kind of moving on for that. Um, what I like the friendships that the boys are having, the kids are having, not or their interpersonal kind of friendships with each other
Mhm.
that I'm really liking, and I like how they bounce around with each other, and I like how they can split off into different groups, and I think that works really well within the show. I hope no one dies and this ends up becoming the core group. I mean, you could die later on, but like for right now, no one is dying. Maybe like two more kid deaths would be all right. Like I'm really okay with, but I was like, see, I'm okay with kids dying in the show, but like that first episode, I was like, oh, all of them essentially.
Yeah.
Maybe not all of them, but like two of them can go. So I kind of like that dynamic. Was there any other thoughts on that? Because many people are comparing it to Stranger Things. You said Ghostbusters. I'm
Well,
like,
just the
lean on
cemetery
me.
scene. The cemetery scene was
Okay,
my ghost.
so
That's my Ghostbuster reference. That's all it was.
let's talk. Anything else that you wanted to say about that cemetery scene? Because I was like clutching myself. I thought it was
I
scary.
didn't
I
enjoy it.
thought it was intense.
Not me, not at all.
You were
The only,
so.
like I said, the only thing that I worried about was just another child death. Um, so it didn't matter what scene it was. It could have been this scene or whatever scene we see in the future. I'm always gonna have in the
Mhm.
back of my head, oh my God, who's gonna die? But the whole scenario itself just felt like a Hollywood blockbuster moment with a lot of like action and adventure type of thing. And I was just like, these ghosts look really like stupid CGI. You see like the weird cracks on the floor and stuff. Just it looks silly. It looks very Hollywood. Um, the only thing that had me worried was when Will fell down, the little cave in, and I thought that he was
Mhm.
dead, and that was it. But the whole thing overall, I didn't enjoy it, and I really hope they kind of chill out with the horror scene. No, I mean there could be lots of tension, but like chill out with like the attacks that Pennywise do and all the CGI that they're using. It's I think it's a little too much. Like it's kind of like the same. And mind you, for me, everybody's different. You enjoyed it, you got scared. Great for you. Mind you, me, I've seen a lot of crazy shit when it comes to horror. Like I've seen a lot of real sick horror stuff. So I'm a little desensitized by a lot of it. So uh what I kind of compare it to is like The Conjuring. I love the first and second Conjuring movie, but like after you
Mm.
see these movies and the other ones come out, they rely a little bit more on CGI. They rely a little bit more on these jump scares that are very predictable, and the series itself starts to get watered down and starts to diminish its scare factor. And that's already how I feel about it in this third episode, and I'm hoping it's not going to be the case for the rest of the show.
Okay. Here's the thing that was interesting to me. I feel because it was Rich's idea. I think Rich is trying to impress people at this point, and everything that he was saying, kind of obviously he made it up on the spot. It gave me very ET vibes, but he kind of made everything up on the spot in order to
Yeah,
kind of impress his friends.
yeah,
But in a way, it's like dumb luck because it technically did work
it still happened.
because
Yeah.
they got the photo. It still happened. But I'm kind of wondering, will they kind of rely on dumb luck when it comes to these kids? Or,
Um.
because if you look at it,
Ooh, I
Richie
guess.
didn't know nothing. He didn't
Yeah.
know anything. He was just talking the talk.
Yeah. I think
So
it'll
then
be
that,
dumb luck to a point. I think
uh-huh.
a light bulb will go off at some point to realize either what this thing is or how to summon it or try to get its attention or even try to stop it. Who knows? But I'm sure they'll get a olive branch somewhere to figure things out. But yeah, I think you might be right. Like most of it's going to be like dumb luck for a while.
I think you might also be right with the sense that it did look kind of bad. It looked like ghosts.
Are you looking at it again right now? Because
I
I
am.
still have it burned into my brain how silly the whole scene was.
It was kind of bad. But see, I just like the fact that they're like, it was intense. Even though it was bad, it did feel
Sure,
kind of cheap.
I could agree with that.
But okay, so I'm gonna talk my way into defending this scene. So because they're kids, certain things are scary to kids that wouldn't be necessarily scary to
Of
adults.
course, yes.
So therefore, I'm thinking it's their fear because, as you stated, you got to season the children before you eat them, right? So
Hmm.
their fear would obviously look different than an adult's fear,
Yes.
right? So that's why it looks so corny. We're seeing the fear through their eyes. Aha, aha.
I mean, me as an adult, I don't normally fear a pregnant lady, legs wide open, and a giant gaping mouth coming out of the stomach. But that was
You
a
didn't kill
scary
your
fucking
mother.
scene. But that was a pretty damn scary scene, though. I love that scene. That was a very good scene. And a lot of it was practical effects, which also made it even scarier. So I don't think the relation of fear is the issue. I think it's more of just the CGI use, and it's just that uncanny valley of just like, yeah, this looks fake as hell.
See, I was trying to talk my way into it, but you
Nope.
see.
And I just turned it
Warner
all right
Brothers
back around.
Discovery is still in debt. They're still in debt. They still have to pay off their debts, and they're trying to be sold to someone else. So this is why they couldn't give them such an expensive, special effects budget for every episode. Which is why the first episode was like, oh my god. The second episode was like, cool, and then like it just maybe keeps getting worse until we get to Pennywise. Pennywise gets the full effect of everything.
Well, but Pennywise is practical for the most part. He's practical, like
So far.
so far. I'm not knocking on the use of CGI because if you're going to use CGI, it's got to look real still. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not knocking on it, but like don't make it look as silly as those damn ghosts. And I even knocked on the second episode too because I wasn't really that convinced with the pickle jar CGI.
I love the pickle. That pickle
I
thing was
wasn't feeling it.
amazing.
I wasn't feeling it at all.
I But see, I thought it was, and again, I want to talk my way into this. It was bad because Penny got jokes, and Penny was just laughing his way through this.
Well,
So he wasn't that
yeah.
invested.
I could get by on that. I perfectly agree with it because it's almost like he's messing around with his victims just like Freddy Krueger does in people's dreams. He likes to mess with you. I can get by that, but I'm still just talking about just you're trying to immerse yourself in the scene, but the CGI is just off in a sense that like it's jarring. So it takes you out of that scene, out of that moment of fear, of tension, of horror, because you can't get past that it looks like a freaking video game or whatever, however you want to compare it to. So like if it looks unrealistic, I'm not going to enjoy it.
Isn't it sad that Pirates of the Caribbean was like 85 years ago?
Decades ago, yeah. And it's still
That
better
was
than
like
CGI today.
the best special effects. Oh,
But they also put money
yeah.
into it. I get it's a big, huge blockbuster movie or a whole series of movies. So they had the
Mhm.
budget for it. And this is like, like a little TV show. That's, I get you're kind of comparing apples to oranges, but still just up the quality a little bit, please. Or just
Okay,
lessen it, like
I get
use less of it. You know what I mean? Just there has to be a happy medium somewhere.
Yeah, it was a bad scene. It was, the more I think about it, it was something. I got it. It was Scooby Doo Mysteries. It was
Scooby.
something out of Scooby Doo.
I could see that.
No,
Yeah, I could
it
see
was
that.
Scooby Doo.
Yeah, Scooby Doo.
He
That's a
said
good comparison.
1990s. It's like a 1990s Scooby Doo. And then they
Oh, I thought
just
you were
made it a
comparing
live
it to
action
like
version.
I thought you were comparing it
It
to
was a
like the live
cartoon.
action Scooby Doo.
I'm comparing it to both the cartoon and the live action.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
going to just be both at this point. But yeah, Ghostbusters thrown in there a little bit. It was,
Hmm.
yeah, the lighting was bad. It was bad. Yeah, I agree. So yeah, so we ended on the note. We're getting Penny. We're getting a fuzzy Penny, but we got Penny. So each episode we're one step closer to getting Penny, and we got him. We're getting his voice. Bill Skarsgård is just so good with a character
Oh yeah,
actor.
yeah, he is.
So overall, I think that this was, if I was to grade it from like a 1 to a 5, I thought it was a solid 2.5, 2.8, not a 3. Like I want to give it a 3. Okay, I'm going to say 3. What about you?
I'll I'll compromise and I'll still say a 3 as well. It still had a good story. It still had good story. It still had good structure, good writing, good everything. The only off-putting thing for me was the CGI scenes, and that was it. Um, but the rest of the show, good quality.
Mhm. Oh, and then Lily, her being locked up, she's going to still find a way to get her father.
Oh yeah.
Not the father. That was Susie. Lily is going to find a way to kind of tell everyone what's really going on as well, and to make sure that Susie's father is released. We did get a preview that I don't think is going to go very well with that.
I didn't watch the preview this time around. I wanted to
But
surprise myself.
okay,
I wanna just not have any expectations, I guess.
okay. Here's the thing that I do have to say about this. This is why I love how they're doing the release dates, where it's actually a week. You're making it must see TV, and you're making us wait. And I think
Netflix,
that
pay
the
attention to
show,
that.
and also, hi, movie theaters exist, Netflix. I know you don't like that, but this is also why your directors are leaving you, which then again makes me wonder why are you going to a streaming service and then being upset that your movies is not in the theater.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing, what's going on. But
Sorry, you were
don't
saying
sign to a streaming.
about the weekly stuff.
Yes. So that's the thing with the weekly. I really like the fact that this is a weekly because it's like you're making me wait. But then I can go and watch episode 1 and 2 again and just wait for watch number 3. But the point is, I love the fact that they're doing this weekly. So bring back regular TV essentially, unless your show is just terrible
I
and
agree.
dump it all at once.
I'm tired of binging things, and maybe as part of it is because we're adults and we don't got the time to be binging stuff. But or maybe we're just tired of it because we've done it for so long. Because that was the norm back then. I like weekly releases because that leaves me time to watch other things and just have a life.
It also really does depend on the
Life.
show because I did have a life. See, your life of coughing. But yes, I agree with that completely. And also does depend on the show because like there is a show on Peacock that was amazing, and you binge it all in one sitting, and you're still like, oh my god. But the point is,
Mhm.
um, I love this show. I love what they're doing for this. Are there any expectations or something that you particularly want to see? Because for me, where's Carrie? I'm joking.
What?
I said Carrie. I was doing the Stephen King thing. I was joking.
Oh, oh. um, I my expectation I would love. I don't think it's really gonna happen. Too at least too much. I want more connections to the other books or other characters from his series. I want to see Dark Tower things, references, characters show up or at least mentioned or something like that. Freaking the standing the God, what other books? He's has so many other books.
Stan?
um
That was him?
the stand, I think, was this the stand or something like that.
The
Did
Stan
he
was
do
him. I
the stand?
forgot what it was about
Yeah.
though.
Shoot, I can't remember either.
It was long.
What else? Even things even things like Jesus, the lady with the breaking of the legs. Uh
Oh, the thing with Kathy Bates.
yeah, Kathy Bates, like, little mentions like that. Like they don't have to like actually be forced into the story for any reason, but just like
He's
little
an author
Easter
being
eggs,
kidnapped.
little little connections like that would be a lot of fun. I want to see the world and the universe expand because you could do so much with not just Pennywise, but Pennywise, in the books, his siblings, all the godlike siblings, and the paranormal and universal aspects of everything would be a lot of fun to explore in the future.
I completely agree. I mean, it is. You basically want Castle Rock, is what you're saying.
Sure.
Pennywise to just terrorize everyone on Castle Rock.
I would love a Dark Tower series, like a legit series, because the movies that have been out
Didn't we have
before
one?
have been crap. There've been movies.
We can get a Salem. There's some cats over there just
Salem's
randomly
Lot.
walking through a
Oh, Pet
cemetery.
Cemetery. Yeah, Pet Cemetery would be great. Yeah.
Get a random cat. It looks weird. It's one of the dead cats. Pet cemetery. But yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I just kind of wonder what's going to go on. Obviously, I don't think Pennywise is defeated because clearly he comes back 27 years later.
Hmm.
So then, like, what happens? Is it like, oh, a fake out, and then Penny comes and eats everyone except for the
Hmm.
dad? It was just evil at the end of the season. But I look forward to what this is going to happen. Um, Lay off killing kids for a moment, but you can bring it back later. I like more of the stories, and I like the fact that the kids are being kids. They wrote, to me, it feels like they wrote the series with kids actually in mind. It's not like adults writing for kids. You know how it can become weird how like adults think kids speak and
Yeah,
act?
yeah, yeah,
It feels very authentic
yeah.
with their behavior. So
True.
I like that. Even though the language is really awkward. And then they
Hmm.
wrote it in 1960, so it's like those tatas over there. But but it works.
That was a
It
bit
works
weird for
for
me to
me.
hear, but that's what kids do.
Gee golly. But yeah, I like it. We look forward to it. And of course, yeah, that's everything that I think that we got to say for this episode. It was great. So catch us on late. We'll talk about the episode coming up soon. What is it? Next week's episode.
We do every
Next
week, yeah.
Sunday's episode. Every week we'll be here talking about Penny and his wives and the children. So, any other thoughts? No?
No, that's it. Great show.
That's it. Great show. We loved it all. We'll see you next week. So have a great day, afternoon, evening, whatever time that you're watching this. And peace in the Derry East.